Welcome to the Grassroots Army Podcast. This platform is for common sense people looking for up-to-date, accurate, and truthful information without the hot garbage corporate media bias. The power of one can lead to the power of many. You never know what small act that you may say or do that may literally change the lives of millions tomorrow. And don't you ever think that you can't make a difference, because you can. Hello, everyone. Everyone keeps asking me why I'm supporting Meshawn Maddock to be the next leader of the Michigan Republican Party. And so the best thing that I can do is not talk about it, but actually show you what she has done. And I only have time to show what I have from what she did for 1 year, not the years prior to the pandemic and not the years after the pandemic, which she has done a tremendous amount behind the scenes. But I want to highlight what she did and what she was willing to do when, number one, it was very unpopular to do so, when everyone bought into this narrative that this virus was going to kill all of us. She stood tall and she stood up when most people didn't. To me, that shows courage. That shows grit. That shows leadership. Someone who's willing to stand up for what's right, even when it's unpopular to do so. So to begin this story, we're going to reflect back. So bear with me as I go through this timeline, because a lot happened in a year, and you're going to be surprised on how much Meshawn Maddock was involved. So let's go back to February 3rd, 2020, when China released this video, which scared the hell out of the majority of the people in America, especially, so much so that they were willing to give up their constitutional freedoms, their sacred values, and their citizens' rights. So this is where I come in. See, after that video came out, I started to feel inside that something was off. And I know a lot of you felt something similar, that something just didn't make sense. We really didn't know what this virus was going to do. But as the governor started to lay down her hammer and take away our constitutional freedoms, our sacred values, and citizens' rights, this is where I stood up and I started to get involved. And that all started with a hissy fit video on April 9th, 2020. Good afternoon, my fellow Michiganders. Good afternoon, my fellow Americans. Here we are today going to talk about, again, the governor. When she gives us lemons, we are going to make vats and vats and vats of lemonade, especially with the clown show that we are currently in, and we continue. I mean, we're shutting down all these businesses. We're ruining these people's lives. And I knew in my head at the time, I could just foresee what was going to happen. I knew that lockdowns, if you do it for a long period of time, do more harm than good. We're social beings. And I just had all this anger inside of me. And I said, you know what? I'm just going to make a Facebook group. And I did it for my own personal expression. I just wanted to get something off my chest. I just made like a 2 to 3 minute video, just like, why is this happening? This doesn't make sense. And I posted it. And that night, I go home to my wife and and there's like 500 people that joined our group. And I looked at it, I was like, holy cow, like there's 500 people that feel just like I do. And that's one of the things I think with conservatives, we thought we were alone. And when I woke up the next morning, it was 5,000. And I went to work that day, and later on that day, it was 100,000. And the second night, it was 200,000. The third night, it was 300,000 people. And I looked at my wife on a Sunday afternoon, I was like, you know, what the heck did I do? So at this point in time, our group is growing, people are activated, people are involved. What was Meshawn Maddock doing at this time? Well, she was organizing the protest Operation Gridlock, where they say 10,000 people showed up to protest Governor Whitmer's stay-at-home orders.
This arbitrary blanket spread of shutting down businesses, about putting all of these workers out of business, is just, it's a disaster. It's an economic disaster for Michigan, and people are sick and tired of it, and they're fed up. This grip of destruction that Michigan is under right now just feels like bureaucracy. Instead of looking at essential and non-essential, let's start looking at what's safe and unsafe and start getting people back to work.
1 month later, she organized Operation Haircut on May 16th, 2020.
Not stand down. I will continue my work with or without a license. I feel I have been denied my livelihood by this governor. That's right.
So now we're moving into summer of 2020, where now our Facebook group was taken down. We reorganized our movement, Stand Up Michigan, and we started to lead what? A citizens petition called what? Unlock Michigan. And you know who was a fellow co-chairman? Or I should say co-chairwoman? Yeah, you're right. Meshawn Maddock, where we the people hammered down and got over 539,000 signatures in less than 80 days. Your decision over the last 3 months has proven to all of us that you are a direct threat to those very words that were inked by our forefathers. What's happening right now should never happen again. What's happening right now is that no governor should ever have this much unilateral power to do the things that she's doing. We are fighting back. We are starting our petition to repeal the 1945 law so no governor will ever have this much power again. This is your opportunity. This is your time.
We can get it to the legislature, get it voted, get it through, we can end the tyranny.
This is our Super Bowl event. This is everything that we've talked about ever since the beginning, folks. Ever since I started the Michiganders Against Excessive Quarantine. And I told you I would never give up on any of you, and I would not quit until this was done. And this is it. I will live and breathe this thing until it is accomplished. Stand up. We can do this together.
I feel like Mike Jordan, give me the rock and I'm scoring. Hey, came from the bottom, that's foreign. I swear that I'm up for the sun in the morning. Oof.
Now you fast forward to what Governor Whitmer did during the second lockdown, right? When she started hammering down on these restaurants with all their restaurant restrictions.
Emergency are things that governments do when they need powers to take unusual actions to protect people. None of this is easy, but it's absolutely essential to save lives. We will need to extend the state of emergency.
The state Supreme Court has ruled that Governor Whitmer did not have the authority to extend the state of emergency without legislative approval.
I was out with my boy, first time hunting, 10 years old, we were bow hunting. Literally, I got that message on my phone, and it said Supreme Court rules in favor of legislature. I smacked my son in the chest in the blind. He's like, Dad, what are you doing? I was like, we won. We won. That was literally one of the best moments of my life because I thought we did it.
What a fantastic day, a monumental day. Not only did we the people hammer down and deliver over 539,000 signatures for our Unlock Michigan, to repeal that 1945 law, but God has decided to bless us again and allow the Supreme Court to come through and vote in favor of who? We the people. We've been waiting for this moment. We all have. But our work is not done.
The Michigan Health Department today issued new COVID safety regulations that mirror the executive orders Governor Whitmer had previously issued.
I never in a million years would have thought that she would have weaponized the health department. I didn't even know that was possible.
It comes just 72 hours after the Michigan Supreme Court ruling that said Governor Whitmer did not have the authority to issue emergency orders to mitigate the spread of COVID-19.
The ruling does not mean that the orders I issued violated the law. Although I disagree with the conclusion, the court held the law was unconstitutional, meaning the legislature never had the power to pass it in 1945.
She brought the hammer down at the end of November, shutting our restaurants down to 25% capacity with a 10 p.m. curfew. Thank you, Nanny Governor, for protecting us, right?
So if you fast forward, now we're around to the election of 2020. What was Meshawn Maddock doing? Was she staying at home? Was she being quiet? No. She was at the TCF Center when they were actually boarding up the windows, not allowing Republicans to make sure the election wasn't stolen.
Tensions did run high while the votes were being counted at the TCF Center when dozens of poll watchers were turned away, being told the tally room was at capacity due to COVID-19 restrictions.
And a lot of restaurants were standing up at this time because they had no choice. They had to stay open or they were going to lose their livelihood. Folks like the Iron Pig, Wood Chips Barbecue, Craven's Restaurant in Hudson, Spangler's in Jonesville, and one on the west side of the state called Marlena's. And who was there speaking on behalf of these restaurants? That's right, Meshawn Maddock. Now fast forward to April 28th, 2021. Who was standing up against all the mandates? Meshawn Maddock. See, not all leaders have to be the one out in front waving the flag and being the loudest. Sometimes leaders can be the ones in the background who inspire others to lead. And that's one thing Meshawn is unbelievable at, is inspiring other people to bring out their inner greatness. And that's what true leaders do. So for all the delegates out there who have been fighting alongside us during all of these events, during all of these protests, we were standing up against the unconstitutional lockdowns. We were standing up for the barber, Carl the barber, the hairstylist. We were standing up for the restaurants. When we were circulating Unlock Michigan petition, when we were standing up for our kids, when we were standing up for the election, who was there by our side, fighting alongside us within those very trenches? You know who it was. That holds a lot of weight with me. And I hope it holds a lot of weight with you, because we need fighters now. And Meshawn Maddock has proven time and time and time again that she is not only a fighter, but she is the right leader to take the Republican Party into 2026, where we must win up and down the ticket. And we need that type of grit to do just that.